What's it like being such a huge, iconic star from such a small country? I mean, it's one thing being a star where they're used to seeing a lot of great talent, but you're such an anomaly in Denmark. What is that dynamic like?
You know, it's something, again, that I feel like I've grown up with because I think I had my first interview when I was 9, and, you know, my first documentary about me in Denmark was when I was 10, and, you know, it just became more and more as I grew older and I did more, better results. So, you know, it's not like it came from nothing to a lot, so it wasn't overwhelming at that in that way. But, you know, when I go back once in a while and I see all these girls playing with the Onyx rackets and their Adidas clothes, it's so cute, and I'm like, you know, is that what I really do, you know? And it's amazing to see, and it's nice to see a smile on their face when they see me and want to play like me.
Well, you have a very glamorous life. You're 22 years old, you travel the world, your boyfriend's the #1 golfer in the world, you're very successful, and you smile and you're always happy, and you let people in. Is life really, is it that good? Are there things that we don't see that you go through that we don't see when the camera's not rolling or you're not on the court?
Yeah, I mean, of course, my life is great. I have no complaints at all, but obviously it doesn't just come overnight, you know? It's hard work, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours spent on court, in the gym, out running, and it's not fun all the time, definitely not. But, you know, the results that it gives, you know, it's all worth it in the end of the day.
What's the most painful thing you've gone through professionally?
You know, there's always been ups and downs, you know, and there's been tough losses where, you know, for example, I lost in the semifinals to Lena in Australian Open last year, and I had match points to go into the finals. After I lost that match, I was devastated. I mean, but the way I got through it was I went straight on court the next day, and I was there for 3 hours, and I just worked and worked and worked on one thing I knew I did wrong, and I was like, I'm never going to do that mistake again. And I went on court. I didn't have a break at all after that match. I just kept going. I needed all my aggressions out, and yeah, it worked out, because then, you know, I won Dubai, finals in Doha, won Indian Wells, and, you know, everything started to go well from there. But, you know, that was tough. It took me a while to get over, and still talking about it like half a year later, a year later, you know, I was still devastated about that loss.
What was it? What was the thing that you needed to work out?
The thing was, I knew I had my own serve. It was my serve, and instead of going for it, I was like, okay, you know, if I spin it in, I know I'm going to get it cross court, you know? And I knew what I had to do with the ball, but then instead of just going for it, I just pushed it back, and then I waited for an opportunity instead of just going for my shot, and she ended up winning the point easily with a forehand down the line. And I was like, I'm never going to do that again. You know, I'm just going to go for it. If you lose it that way, you know, too bad. But at least you know that you've went for it.
So you are conceding that your instincts are generally to play a little bit more defensively, be a little bit more passive in those big moments.
You know, in that moment it was, because actually in the whole match I felt like I didn't feel like I played my best game. And, you know, sometimes you just need to grind it out.
But you were in a position to win.
I was in a position to win,
and that's where the analogy goes to Andy Murray. That's my point, is that you've so successful doing it your way. Same with Andy Murray. You could beat so many of the players so high percentage of the time for so long until you don't. And so you challenging yourself to challenge and expand your comfort zone. How important is that for you to win a Grand Slam and get back?
I mean, definitely you need to expand all the time. Everyone is improving, so you can't just, you know, sit on the couch and think that everything will be good. You need to expand your game. You need to expand everything, the repertoire you have. And of course, you know, I need to work on my serve, first of all, my returns. You know, being able to, if you take the point straight away there, you know, you get an easy point you can attack. You know, if you have a bad serve or make a bad return, you're in the defense straight away. You can't go to offense. And obviously you want to be the one who controls the point, because that's when you win. You know, so obviously you just try to go in that direction all the time.
It's a fine balance.
It's a fine balance.
Yeah.
It's a fine balance between going too much for it or being too passive. You need to find the right balance. And when you find the right balance, that's when you win.
In life and in tennis.
Exactly.
And the one place where it's very easy, I could tell you, and I learned this very quickly, was from the broadcast booth. It's very easy for other people to say what you should do, how and why, but to find that balance on the court is a lot tougher. Exactly. I want to go back to the tennis and the golf. There's so many things that are parallel and that work off of each other in an individual sport. And tennis players love golf, golfers love tennis, both romantically and actually athletically. Sergio Garcia dated your idol.
Yeah.
Greg Norman married Chris Evert, and now you and Rory. How did you meet?
Very randomly. I lost in Wimbledon. I had a friend, Klitschko, who was boxing David Hay, and he was like, "Oh, do you want tickets?" And I was like, "No, I'm not going to be there." I was thinking I'm still going to be at Wimbledon, but then I lost, and I was by the pool at a friend's house, and they were a big group going to the fight, and they're like, "Why are you not going?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to chill. I'm going to Bostad. I'm going to play next tournament, so I'm just going to stay home." They're like, "Well, we're leaving tonight. If you want to jump on our plane, go ahead." And I was like, "Well, I don't have a ticket now." So I called the manager, and I was like, "Oh, do you have an extra ticket?" And they're like, yeah, go ahead, So I flew with them. This was like at 11, and they were flying at 1. I was like, I need to pack all my bags for Bostad, and then we went to Hamburg. And who's sitting 2 rows behind me? It's Rory, and I'm like, and I can see him staring at me, and I'm thinking, okay, he knows who I am, or he's just creepy, I didn't know. But then
Luckily it was the first.
Exactly, luckily it was the first. So I was like, I could feel him staring at me. So in the end I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn around and I'm gonna introduce myself. So I walked back and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Karen." He's like, "I know, can I have a picture with you?" And he was there with his friend, and his friend was like, "Oh my God, we're both big fans, can we have a picture with you?" And that's how we met. It was funny at a boxing fight in Hamburg.
And how was the first date?
Good. We talked for we went to a bar and just talked until they kicked us out of the bar. They're like, "We're closing now." So it was good.
Who's are you better in golf or is he better in tennis?
I want to say I'm better at golf, but I think he's better at tennis. He has a pretty good forehand. The backhand needs work, and my swing is good some days. I have no idea why that happens. That some days it's good, some days it's completely off. So he's probably more consistent than I am.
Who's learned more from the other? Have you learned more from him? I mean, he's been more vocal about what he's learned from you, but what have you learned from him?
A lot of things. He's very calm. He doesn't, even if he has a bad practice, he doesn't let it get to him. He's always happy. I'm like, "Do you ever have a bad practice?" He's like, "Yeah, of course I do, but it's just a ball, and I just hit it sometimes. It goes right or left. It doesn't matter. I just need to work on a few things." Whereas, I go completely crazy. I'm like, "Why? I've been playing tennis for so many years, and why doesn't it do what I want it to do?" And I think I've learned to become more calm and more just easygoing and not taking too seriously on the practice court as well.
Your U.S. Open final loss to Kim Clijsters. What do you take from that experience?
It was a great experience, to be able to play in the finals on Arthur Ashe with so many people watching you, and playing the night session was an amazing feeling. And it was my first Grand Slam final, and I wasn't actually that nervous going into the match, but I just think she had a bit more experience than I had, and I was leading in the first set and had my opportunities. I didn't take them, and in the end of the day, she played better than me, and I think especially that she had been in more situations like that definitely helped her win the match.
Who are your closest friends on the WTA?
The Radwanska sisters, Daniela Henchikova. She just lives next door to me in Monaco, so we see each other quite a lot. Serena is a fun girl, and like to spend time with her. Yeah, there's a lot of nice girls out there.
I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had to say when your career's over, yes or no, would you have won a Grand Slam? What's the answer?
I believe in myself, so yes, I'm going to go for the yes.
Where do you have the best chance?
Probably a hard court, so I would say US Open or Australian Open.
What are you working on most in the off season to prepare yourself to be successful in 2013?
I'm doing so much gym work, so much running and intervals, and just getting my body in a great shape, because in the end of the day, everyone knows how to play tennis. Everyone knows every shot. So that's not the biggest key. For me, the biggest key is to be able to get into position every time and not get tired during a match. So I'm doing much more gym and fitness work than I'm on the court, actually.
Where does Serena Williams belong in the hierarchy of the greatest of all time?
She is an unbelievable champion, and what she has achieved in not just, it's been different generations that she's gone through, and you know, she's dominated for so many years. And you know, when she's on, I mean, you're just standing there and thinking, okay, this is not the Serena you want to meet. You know, just let's get our own service games and see what happens. But you know, I played her at the Olympics when she was just on fire, and nobody could get more than 3 games off her. You know, so even though I lost 0-3, and you know, I didn't really feel embarrassed. You know, sometimes you lose 6-love, and you don't get a game, and you feel embarrassed. You're like, oh my God, I just want to hide. But there was just not much I could do. She was just too strong. She overpowered me, and in the end of the day, you know, you just have to take your hat off and say, you know, well done. So I definitely want to rank her among. I think she's not the greatest. She's definitely, you know, up there in the top 3 for sure.
Do you feel a sense of responsibility or added pressure being one of the faces of not just women's tennis, but also female sports?
No, I don't feel the pressure, really. You know, I'm myself, I do my best, I enjoy life, and that's it, basically.
What's the most fun thing that your success on the court enables you to do off court?
There's so many things, you know, it opens the door to so many things, you know, being able, just small things. I love sports, so to be able to go to Anfield, meet the players at Liverpool, you know, and get tickets whenever I want, and you know, those things. If I just were at home and studying, probably wasn't going to happen. Or you know, get floor seats at the Knicks or the Miami Heat. You know, that's something that is cool too. So and be able to meet so many inspiring people, definitely as well.
If you didn't play tennis, what would you be doing?
Studying, probably. I was kind of a geek in school, you know. I really enjoyed that learning process and getting good grades. That made me happy about myself. Felt like kind of an achievement, and probably study something, business management, probably something like that.
Caroline, thank you very much. Congratulations on everything, and good luck 2013. You represent the sport so well, and thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you.